Hey guys, Coach Steph here. Today we're going to be talking about traveling, eating out, and social eating. So, a lot of these things are very challenging because we are out of our normal comfort zone and we're trying to take the habits that we're creating and then use them in a new environment. So, a lot of times, your social circle and traveling are really going to challenge your belief systems, and I really want to teach you how to reinforce your habits versus using traveling and social eating as a reason to quit. So think about it as an opportunity to try your new lifestyle in a new environment. Your power for living this lifestyle comes from being able to use all these tips and tricks and tools in any environment and situation. So that way you can stay on track towards your healthy habits and stay within whatever range of 80-20 rule you are doing for your successes. So here are some strategies to get you started. We're going to be covering a few different scenarios today, one of which is going to be on the go eating. So maybe traveling via airplane or car or just running from place to place every day. The next is going to be social events, things like weddings, parties, football season. And the last is eating out. So just going out to eat with your family or friends. So maintaining your habits and goals is definitely going to be, I'd say probably 90% mental. So having tools in your belt will help you make healthy decisions without having to overthink it. So I don't know if you've ever been in the health food store or on the power bar section of the grocery store, and you really are trying to make the best decision possible. But it's so overwhelming because you look at the back of one bar and it has high fat but low carbs, and then the next one has higher calories but it has no sugar, and it's just there's so many options to choose from. So this is where I suggest going. Is I suggest starting by just prioritizing what it is you're trying to accomplish. So first priority is always going to be hydrate. Oftentimes when we think we're hungry, it's probably because we haven't actually been hydrating. Hydrating will keep our bodily functions moving, our metabolism going, and also kind of keep us full. The next step is whole foods. So if you have options for a whole food, meaning bananas or meat, nuts, seeds, veggies, anything like that, that is going to be your best option. The next way is to go 5 ingredients or less. Ideally, 5 ingredients that you can actually pronounce and read the words of. So I have an example here, the RX bar, where they have very simple ingredients: egg whites, almonds, cashews, dates, and no BS. So no extra fillers or anything like that. So that would be a next step best option if whole foods weren't available to you. And at the end of the day, if you have the option to, try to balance your meals with a protein and a carb. The reason for that is by doing that, it helps transport your nutrients through your system a little bit better. Also helps with the spike in your blood sugar. So use this tool, especially when you're faced with decisions. You're trying to be healthy and you have healthy options in front of you, yet it still feels overwhelming to make a decision. This is a chart that can help you make a nice quick decision without having to overthink it. Next thing we're going to talk about is on-the-go success strategies. So if this is you just running errands all day long and you didn't really plan a lunch break, or you're traveling and you're hopping from flight to flight, here are some things I want you to think about. The first is going to be water. Like we said, it is the top priority. One, there is a minimum amount of water that we should be drinking per day just to simply fuel our body and our cells. And it's about half of our body weight in ounces. If you're traveling, I highly suggest upping that. It definitely reduces toxins. If you're traveling, especially across time zones, it'll really help with the travel lag, just kind of keep you a little bit more alert. Plus, it'll help you eat less. So like we said before, if you are not thirsty and dehydrated, sometimes water will keep you a little bit more satiated throughout the day. The next one's eating healthy snacks. So oftentimes when we're traveling or on the go, we tend to skip meals or or create a lot more time frame between our meals. So bringing snacks or finding snacks throughout the day is going to be very, very helpful because it's going to help you keep your body eating at regular intervals. So if typically your body is used to eating breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner, even if you're not getting the full-blown meals, trying to eat at similar frequencies will help your body stay regulated throughout the day. Plus, you know what it feels like when you don't eat and then you just gorge on a really big meal. You feel very satiated for a minute and then you feel so tired and sluggish pretty soon after that. So that's not going to help you with whatever else you have to accomplish in that day. The other bonus to eating at regular intervals is going to be what it actually does for your body. So by keeping everything consistent, it does trigger the brain to feel comfortable burning the calories. So it's kind of like it trusts you to continue feeding it. So that way it keeps burning calories versus saving them just in case. And then also it'll keep you a little bit more energized and avoid you from wanting or craving the more sweet, salty, that kind of thing. So a lot of times if we don't eat frequently enough, if we're really hungry, it's a lot harder to make good, healthy option choices. So those are some things you can think of when you're traveling or on the go. The next we're going to talk about is social events. I'd say that social events are probably one of the hardest because of the social pressures that are usually present with a social event. Depending on the type of event, your best strategy is to help your friends and family understand the why behind your new healthy habits. If they understand the why and that it means a lot to you to see this through, then maybe they'll be more willing to support you rather than poke at you. I don't know if you've ever been in an event and they're like, it's just one donut, or just eat the icing. And it's kind of confusing why if you said, no, I don't want the cookie or the donut, people are still really, really want you to eat the cookie or the donut. Oftentimes it's not because they're trying to be malicious. It's because you're making a change to your healthy habits. And oftentimes that makes them realize that they may need to or have been wanting to make changes and haven't done so yet and are just feeling a little bit insecure. So giving them a little bit more background and understanding of why you're doing this and not just you're on a diet will sometimes help them, allow them to support you and even ask them, hey, will you support me in this? And it's oftentimes pretty hard for people to say no to that. Otherwise, it's up to us to try to maintain our healthy mindset and do the best we can in these challenging situations. So when you're at a social event, so say you're going to a party, one of the biggest keys, especially if you aren't sure what they're going to have at the party, like if it looks like this picture here where it's pretty much all fried food, eat a healthy meal, a big, full, healthy meal before you go. A lot of times when we're super hungry, we end up making poor food choices, whereas if we're full and then we see the sweets or the chips or whatever it is that is our vice, it's a little bit easier to either have a moderate amount versus going overboard or not have them at all. The other option is to have a healthy meal prepped and ready to eat for immediately after. So if you had that full meal and then you're starting to get hungry again, instead of knowing that you have to go home and cook up a full meal and it just seems like hours away, have something ready for you to go so that way you can kind of justify waiting the extra 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes to get to the food that is fueling you the way you want to in your goals. If it's a party that you can bring a dish to, this is the best option where you can bring a healthy dish, bring something that you can eat and munch on the entire party, but that you can also make a little bit extra and share with others. So that way, worst case scenario, if there's only one thing at the party you can eat or you want to eat, and that's the dish you brought, then you're already prepared. There's also the option to eat the decor. A lot of times, spreads have so much fruit and veggies as decoration. Eat all that stuff. It is good to go and it tastes delicious. And the last thing to remember is the drinks. So high sugar, alcohol, things like that, all within moderation depending on what your goals are. but try to stay away from the empty calories and aim for the low sugar options. So just be careful of what you're mixing things with if you're mixing alcohol. Just pay attention to what's on the label. But for social events, it's definitely the social aspect more than the food itself, I would say. And these are a few good tips that'll help. The next one is my absolute favorite. I love eating out. You don't have to cook, and the food is always super yummy. So when you're eating out, there's a lot of similar trends you'll see is that water, try to maintain the quality. So try not to have empty calories. You can spice it up by getting sparkling water, lemon, lime. Often a lot of places now are making their own seltzers and things like that have different flavors, which just feel a little bit more exciting. When you're at restaurants, portions are usually fairly large. So one of the things you can do is ask for a box ahead of time. So as soon as you get your meal, you put half in your box, or maybe not half, maybe it's only a little bit. That's a snack later. But that way you leave on your plate the portion you intend to eat. And then a lot of times that will help. Or if you have someone you're open to sharing your meal with who's good at being fair and you guys both get the same amounts of everything, then that's a good option as well. But with eating out at restaurants, a lot of times I've noticed that we are intimidated by or scared to speak up for what we actually want to be eating. We feel bad for challenging the waiter or the cooking staff, but we need to be paying for what we actually want. So tell them what you want. They're fully capable of making that. And we'll go over how to do that in just a second. There's usually always some kind of protein and veggies on every single menu. You just might have to really dig for it. So what we're going to do next is we are going to check out this fake menu that I put together filled of some things that you can see at a lot of restaurants that are seemingly unhealthy. And then we're going to create some healthy options from it, which means that sometimes you don't have to eat exactly what's on the menu. And you don't have to feel like you have to always go to the salad page unless you love salads when you go out to eat. Like going out to eat can still be exciting and fun, and eating foods that you don't feel like you always get to eat, and you can get creative. So what that looks like is if we were to take that same meal plan, we're going to pull out the burger. So we're going to take just the burger with no bun. And then for our veggies, we're going to just load that burger up. Lettuce, tomato, onion, salsa, guacamole, street corn, you name it. Find every topping you want on this on this menu, and then go ahead and load it on there. On the side, the burger already comes with a baked potato, so ask for a potato toppings on the side. Oftentimes, restaurants have rice or plantains or other options as well. So ask and you might receive, you might not, but it's always good to ask. Another thing you could go for is the grilled chicken. So take the grilled chicken off of the sandwich and add the baked potato, find a side salad or create one however you'd like. The burgers and sandwich section are one of my favorite sections on menus because they're the easiest to kind of do an a la carte, you could say, and get creative with your meals. So going out to eat doesn't mean you can't have exciting meals and you can only eat salads. If you get creative and you ask for what you want, a lot of times they can make that happen for you. Last but not least, traveling and socially eating recap. Always be prepared, kind of know what you're going into and set yourself up for success. Get creative with what you're doing. Try new things and don't forget to do you. This is your goal. This is your habits you're creating. So do it the way you want to and ask for support if and when you need it. As always, if you guys have questions, click the button below or message us and we will get right back to you.